Hello, God bless. This is Daniel Maximov with another vlog. I do apologize for the long hiatus, but I've been very busy with adulting and several other stuff that's been going on in the background, so I do apologize for my surroundings. As you can see, I have visitors this past few months, so I do apologize. So the topic of today's video will be you guessed it, the Roe versus Wade that's going on in the western side of the world. That's where the Supreme Court just overruled abortions. So yeah. So the topic of today's video is inspired by a true biblical story of if you read the book of Kings, Queen Jezebel, um, her symbolism and what is the Jezebel spirit is now at the current time. Because truth be told, the Jezebel spirit is not only synonymous with um, using your body or to get what you want, or the lust of the eyes, if you will. It's also symbolic with false prophets. So what is Queen Jezebel, and what I'm trying to say in this video might be different from what you ever heard before, but so anyways, it's inspired with the reaction I'm seeing from women as since Hillary Clinton came into the picture, we have, well, technically have even before Hillary Clinton came into the picture, really, we've been seeing the decline in, like, now we're being told what is a woman and the consequences of allowing feminism to spiral out of control. And we've been seeing it now where there are, I don't even know what the moniker feminism is anymore, because it's no longer what it used to be. Well, technically now that we live in a secular society where egalitarianism is embraced, there's really no use or need for feminism anymore. It's become a train wreck since its inception, and I'm saying it because Queen Jezebel is the spirit of feminism. People have it confused. Are confusing or tend to confuse Queen Jezebel with Queen Vashti. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing her name. In the Book of Esther, Queen Vashti was the original queen who refused to submit to, you know, to show up nude in front of the drunk king, so of Persia. So she refused, and that cost her her crown. Although that was very noble of her, God used that position for so the Queen Esther can save, you know, his people. So what is Queen Jezebel's story is very if she is, if not the worst, most wicked woman in the Bible, and her story it couldn't be further from Queen Vashti. She is, you can Queen Jezebel was a con artist, a manipulating witch, and in the Book of Revelation, a symbolism for false prophets. But above all, she used her body and manipulated her her spouse Ahab to not only take Yahweh out of the picture, persecute all of Yahweh's prophets, but also like indoctrinate Jerusalem into a false god named Baal, who, as you all are aware, was the god of child sacrifice as well. Or even though, well, Moloch, but Baal, yeah. And it's it's very, very, like, it reminds me of today, where we're heading towards, with the red horse, the horseman of war, which symbolizes communism. That the Jezebel now, women have become, like, it's very disgusting what's going on in the Western world. I mean, women in particularly are like, and not to make this about them only, because when it comes to abortion, both parties are involved. Both the men and the woman who have sexual intercourse are involved, because it takes two to make a baby, and self accountability is for both parties. What abortion does is take the burden of self accountability away. So for these people, a baby is not a blessing from God. It's more of a pebble in their shoes, more of an inconvenience to their lives. And the only means to erase that inconvenience is by killing the inconvenience, and that's what it is to them. And in today's nihilistic society, it's becoming a norm that, because we tend to preach about, if you see the culture around you, it's a culture of this, the hookup culture, where men and women are not looking for a long-term relationship. They're looking more for it with friends for benefits, and they're looking for the players, the F boys, the F girls, the the pushovers. They're looking for the good times, clubbing, and we're living, basically the liberal lifestyle. Uh, no compromise. Be polyamorous as much as you can. It's very, very sick what the Western culture is coming to. And it used to be a godly culture, like they had self-control in our ground, but it has currently morphed a into something that was rarely encountered, and now it's everywhere. And then I have to remind myself that the primary reason why this is happening is because the Western civilization has welcomed just about every unclean ideology known to man, and have given their backs to God, which is the one who hold the prosperity, the one who flourished and made the western side of the world the land of milk and honey. So it's kind of like what happened in Egypt, if you will. And same with ironically, same with the story of the prophet Elijah, which is the only individual who stood up to Jezebel and her, and in doing so, Jezebel seek to kill him. So he had to go into hiding until he confronted her and challenged her God with Yahweh. And as you all, if you guys read the story, Yahweh triumphed. He showed Israel that he is God, and humiliated Jezebel, and undid the indoctrination of Jerusalem into worship this false god. And I think that's is happening now in the current time that we're living in, which is the end times, in which um, we're seeing the worship of Baal, which is the LGBTQP, which is liberalism, which is um, unarming yourself, welcoming with open arms to communism and the New World Order. That would be Baal. And they're using kids, migrants, women, people of color to accomplish that. And people are falling for it because they're stuck in this delusion. And the very fascinating thing about Queen Jezebel that kind of took me is that she resembles she checks all the boxes for feminism. She's the spirit of feminism in the Bible. but the god is a male god. So that means that she enthralled the her followers into worshiping a false god, Baal. So just like feminism is used for to usher in communism, because that's all it is communism, making way for the red horse to now. And as you guys are aware, in communist countries there's no Christians. You know, they are, but they're in caves in places far away from prying eyes. So just like pretty much the prophet Elijah had to go into hiding for, because otherwise he will be killed. So and God took care of him. So God takes care of his followers. Jezebel killed hers. Those who refused to get in, to indoctrinate themselves into Baal were killed. So I mean, she massacred and prosecuted all the prophets of God. So just for Baal to stay on top, and for that, and the prophet Elijah, like the drought happened. When the drought happened and they nobody saw the power of Baal, that Elijah invoked God in front of the entire populace in Jerusalem. So I think that's a representation what's going to happen in the end days, where God will reveal Himself, and all the people in the world will know that He is God. So it's very important, the Book of Kings, that you guys read that chapter, because it's very synonymous with what's happening in the end times, and just like a fiery chariot came for the prophet Elijah, God is gonna come for His people. I mean, well, yeah, Christ is gonna come for His people, and you know we're living in already we're living in we're basically seeing the beginning of sorrows. I guess God is giving humanity time to repent, and I don't and if you see things through His eyes, which, like, I can't imagine what's stopping Him from coming, like, and from fulfilling the prophecy in total. Like, I don't know what's stopping Him, but it's apparent that His coming is around the corner, and people are taking that like a joke, like they did in the days of Noah. That you know, it took a flood, a catastrophe at that level, to make people realize that they have neglected life, the truth, and perish in the Christless existence, like eternity. I'm sorry. Um, you know, like in Sodom and Gomorrah, like it didn't started until Lot and his daughters were out of the city, and then came the fire and destroyed. God made no exceptions there. Every God made no exceptions, with that city and the surrounding cities as well. God made no exceptions in the book of Noah. Like the unclean spirits just left the drowned bodies and followed the ark, and the unclean spirit left the burning corpses of the people in Sodom and Gomorrah and just followed Lot. Like, but this is gonna be the time where the unclean spirits will not have, just like mortals, humans, because the lake of fire is for those who were not saved, and Hades and Satan and all his followers will be cast into the lake of fire. So will be the final time, like, where this will unravel. Like, just like we humans have to worry about time, so is the people in the spiritual world. Like, time is short in both sides, in the material world as well as in the spiritual world. I mean, the harvest is almost done. Like, this is just And the way what and this Supreme Court rule, because I don't the Supreme Court corporation is this is only done to like further divide men and women, like, and they already are divided. Like the LGBTQ people know that I mean, this is an ideology, an oxymoron ideology. The LGBTQ people know that they cannot produce offspring if a man and a woman are not together. Communism is where segregation is at. Like, if you look at the Middle Eastern countries where they do not even worship Yahweh, they have this segregation, and where women are covered up. They look like ghosts or Grim Reaper like costumes that kind of resemble Satanists more than they do priests of God. Like, these people are not like, if you are this multicultural nonsense, which is very similar to this to the Tower of Babel, like everything is coming to place. Like this is not nothing out of the ordinary. Like they want men and women divided because that will cause a population collapse. That's what they want. The more souls they get, the more destruction they'll bring, the more power they gain. Because at the end of the day, it's power, and who controls the destiny of the future, and who controls people's minds, and the financial aspect that comes along with it. Because money is the root of all evil. Correct? People sacrifice their moral codes and their beliefs just for to have what Satan offered Christ, the whole kingdoms of the earth and their glory, in exchange for their souls, which will be the cryptocurrency in the future with the mark of the beast. You know, so this road versus wade is just a temporary, like, they're trying to just uh, buy time for what their agenda really is, and they're obtaining it through, because if you analyze carefully with the social justice movement, it's Satan's approach to the undesirables, to the lonely, to the forgotten. Like he's mimicking God, just like he did with, you know, with the sorcerers, with the pharaohs, you know, Ramesses Pharaoh, how his, you know, his sorcerers also turn their staffs into snakes. That's the same thing what they're doing with social justice. Well, Satan in his hierarchy of demons are doing with social justice. I mean, they're basically they spoil these people. They um, give privileges to these people in the expense, and that they get more power from these people. And that these people stand for everything wrong, it's everything on abnormal and grotesque and straight out of hell, like ambassadors of hell. That's what they are. Like, and they comfort them. Like they comfort them. So this is what they're doing, and of course, uh, you know, who wouldn't want to be inclusive? I mean, hell is an open border. Who wouldn't want to be inclusive? It's just like they're using women to like. If this is an attack in truth in Western men as a whole, because if you go back to this goes back to the original Adam and Eve. God gave God gave Adam authority, and everything didn't turn bad. Everything didn't like it became apocalyptic until Adam ate from the fruit. Like nothing happened when Eve ate from the fruit, but because Adam listened to Eve, ate from the fruit, this happened. Like the fall of man happened, So where this queen and Jezebel is a priestess who calls herself a priestess and actually a prophetess, and she seduces her followers as well as and brainwashes Christ followers into ushering in unclean spirits and ideologies that are straight from hell and lead towards your death. And so she's no longer synonymous with dressing skimpy and using her, feminine wiles like they used in the old days. Because when now women have made it it's not just an attack on men, it's an attack on women as well. Like women are supposed to be like pure beauty, inner and outer, and feminism is just the abnormal and unsexed part of that, like androgynistic, which is anything androgynous comes from Satan. Like God made man and woman. Satan has made the transsexuals. Basically, this feminism is straight out of Satan. Because if you analyze it carefully, Satanism is the worship of a deity that hates humans. Feminism hate themselves, hate women, hate men. Like it's a self-hate ideology. In a way, there's so many self-hate ideologies that only puts your personal freedoms in jeopardy. So the Jezebel spirit now has morphed into feminism, and what it represents is the usher of communism, which is the red horse, which is followed by every other horse of the apocalypse. So be wary that the times that we're living in are dangerous times, and this is the days of Elijah. So just like Elijah stood to Jezebel, we have to stand up to this satanic movement and kneel to God and ask Him to guide us and forgive us and help us, because it's faith when faith is all you have left, and Christ's coming is very near, and millions still don't know the truth. So I hope this video helps. God bless, and I'll see you guys very soon.